Hi, I'm Devin from Janus Motorcycles, and I want to discuss some of the most common questions that our service department gets when it comes to a Janus 250 not starting or having issues staying running. Let's talk about fuel levels. Each bike is equipped with a petcock that has an off position, an on position, and a reserve position. In the off position, fuel does not flow out of your gas tank. It cuts the fuel supply off to your engine. The on position, it will allow you to use the majority of the fuel in your gas tank. When your fuel level gets low enough, the on position will no longer allow fuel to flow to your motor, and at that point, you need to switch to reserve. There may be enough fuel in your tank that you can visually see it at this point, but anytime your bike is stumbling or not running properly, especially at higher speeds, then you need to switch to reserve, and what that does is it uses the last bit of fuel at the bottom of your tank to flow to your motor. The most common symptom of running low on fuel is that your motor will just lose power. And it can do at any RPM from a stop to cruising speeds. So if this happens to you, there's a good chance that you're running low on fuel and you need to switch to the reserve position, or you are just out of gas completely. It's best never to assume that you have enough fuel. And if you question it, just add more fuel to your tank or switch to reserve to see if that resolves any issues you might be having. Another thing to consider is how long has your bike been sitting without running? It only takes a couple of weeks sometimes for the carburetor to get gummed up due to fuel quality or fuel additives that are put into modern fuels. The best thing to do to keep your carburetor from getting clogged up is, if you know your bike is going to sit for 2 weeks or more without running, is to drain your float bowl on your carburetor. In the description of this video, you will find a link to a video on how to drain your float bowl. Now, if you've done all the things that we've discussed fuel related, there might be one last thing that you need to do, and that is clean your carburetor. If your bike is still not taking throttle properly or it has a bad idle, there could be numerous of other symptoms. Below in the video description, you will find a link to a video on how to clean your carburetor. Another thing to consider that is fuel related is it's very slim chance, but you could have gotten a bad batch of fuel from the fueling station. Another thing to check is a very common problem with a very simple solution, and that is your left handlebar switch here has 3 positions: headlight, parking, and then off. So make sure that it's in the H position at all times to keep your bike running. Another common problem that we have with a simple fix is your choke. This choke has 3 positions. All the way up is full choke. In the middle position, your choke is halfway on. Down all the way means your choke is off and you are ready for operation. A common thing is people leave it in the middle position because the bike will reach speeds of 45 to 55 miles per hour and it'll start to spit and sputter if it's in the middle position. Simple fix, just make sure your choke is all the way down so you can reach top speeds. You may need the first 2 positions of choke to start your bike, but once it is running and warmed up, make sure that your choke is in the down position to ensure that your motor is running properly. When it comes to your battery, it's very important to keep the battery voltage levels at a healthy place, being over 12 volts. To do that, you can use a trickle charger or just a standard smart charger to maintain battery health. If you are running into an issue where your bike is not starting, keep in mind that the more you use your starter button, the more you're going to drain the battery. And so if it does happen that you drain your battery, don't panic. Just recharge your battery and try starting your bike again when you have a full charge. Some of the symptoms of having low voltage or a weak battery is that it will not have enough power to turn your motor over properly. At this point, you can either use the Kickstarter to start up the bike. You do not need full voltage on your battery to use the Kickstarter, or you can charge your battery and try again when your voltage is up to a healthy amount. Throttle position is very important when it comes to starting the bike. These bikes do like a little bit of gas, so the best technique is apply the starter button, and when the motor starts turning over, just turn the throttle very little. If you turn it too much, your motor will not start up properly. So the idea is hit the start button and open it up maybe a 1/16 of a turn at the most. If you find that your bike is stalling at low speeds, It may just need a very simple idle speed adjustment. But before you do that, make sure that you have proper fuel levels, your petcock is in the correct position, and your choke is in the correct position, as well as your engine being warmed up. In the video description below, you will find a link to how to adjust the idle on your Janus 250. If you've gone through the checklist that we've just provided and you find that you're still having issues or you have some questions about your Janus 250, please do not hesitate to give us a call or an email. We're happy to help at any time.